And good morning. I just finished doing the neighbor's lawn, which takes an hour and a half. Even on his Cub Cadet, which is fun, but still, it's work. And I'm getting ready in 2 hours to go see Superman. Yes, Superman, the immigrant to Earth. That people are actually making a big stink out of. Would we reject that illegal immigrant, Superman, and tell him he has to leave the country? I don't think so. Or would we? I don't know. I mean, give me a break. I've been hearing that chatter. I'm like, you people are just ridiculous now. Don't worry, 2026, I think there's going to be big changes because this shit is just nuts. Just my opinion. It's just getting out of control. And I'm with a lot of stuff, but this is just getting crazy. They used to say, Biden's not running anything. His people are. Well, the president didn't even know that there was a pause. Oh, I don't know. Why don't you tell me? And then the question was asked, oh, if I would have known about it. No, you didn't know about it. You're lying. He's got little people around him running the government without him even knowing it. And they talked about Biden? They're doing shit behind his back without even telling him. So I don't want to hear this nonsense. I mean, really, let's be real. And then this is going to be a problem with the tariffs because it's an appeal process. When you do tariffs, it's supposed to get congressional approval. But he didn't do that. And in the Constitution, you're supposed to. Now, there is a clause in the state of an emergency, but someone who's really stupid decided to put on paper yesterday that we're going to slam 50% tariffs, and he wrote this on paper. We're going to give you 50% tariffs in Brazil because of the way you're treating your former president who had a witch hunt, because he's comparing it to himself, and your Supreme Court. Well, our Supreme Court gave him a pass. That's why. He's saying, well, if our Supreme Court can do it, why can't your Supreme Court do it for your guy? That has nothing to do with national emergency. Actually, the United States has a surplus with Brazil on tariffs. But yet, he put that on paper, that if you don't do it, and if you don't drop the charges against the former president of Brazil, we're going to slap 50% tariffs. Done. That's out. That's not national emergency. It has nothing to do with us. That's Brazil. That's their government. That's what they do. There are some real issues going on right now. And I'm like, and this Epstein thing with all the MAGA crazy people going nuts over it? Well, what is the obvious answer? Instead of still digging down that rabbit hole, like Elon said, there could be a chance he's in it. Do you know he knew him for 15 years? He was a terrific guy. Turned him on to real estate deals and hanging out at Mar-a-Lago and hanging out with the guy. And oh no, I never knew him. Lie. You hung out with him. You said years ago in an interview that you knew him for 15 years and he was a terrific guy. Now they're all backing off because you know why? He might be in the Epstein files, like Elon said. So now we don't want nothing to do with this. Close it, because he's in it, possibly. So the obvious answer is right in front of everybody. But MAGA's saying, oh, they've been corrupted. They're part of the deep state now. No, it's because he's in it. It's the obvious answer. And I'm like, what is this madness going on in this country? It's madness. And anything to defend. He changes, even Russia said, Russia doesn't even care what he says. Russia says he changes his mind like he changes shoes. Because that's what everybody's looking at him. He doesn't know what he's thinking every day. He changes his mind. I thought Biden was bad. And people were saying, you don't even know what the hell he's doing. I can't believe that they didn't tell him there was a pause on Ukraine. And now and I said this a few days ago, there's going to be a turnaround. And there was. Now all of a sudden we're going to send weapons to Ukraine. And Russia's like, defensive weapons? Go ahead. But he's not gonna go all out because he doesn't want to spend the money. And his no wars policy, again, this no wars policy is going to come back to bite a lot. And all those MAGA supporters that you promised us no wars. Well, you've just put him in a corner that he has to be weak because he can't even confront anything. And it is national security because Russia is a major adversarial threat. What are you people thinking? Really, what are you people thinking? And I'm an independent. I look at things both sides. This shit is just crazy. There comes a point where people have to say, okay, this is just getting out of control. I'm at that point. It's just bizarre. And no matter what he does, his support base, the extreme supporters are going to support him no matter what he does. But I'm telling you, this is not good. This is not good for the country. People might think of it. I mean, this big, beautiful bill, the only people that support it are the MAGA people. Of course. Vast majority are against it. They just had a thing I read that came up on the news. Josh Hawley just came out and slammed it, but he voted for it because he knows his people in his state, in Missouri, are going to get hurt. Now he's slamming it, but he voted for it. Give me a break. Don't cry now. You voted for it. It's the hypocrisy, and it's just insane. And like I said, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. When the president doesn't even know what the hell's going on in his own administration and they're doing shit behind his back and he doesn't even know about it, and they're doing... That man should be fired. Hegseth should be fired immediately. Immediately. For not informing the president, the Secretary of State, who serves as another role. He's got a dual role. He didn't even tell anybody. And then they were scrambling. When a reporter asked him, did you know that there was a pause on the weapons being sent to Ukraine when he's talking about resending? Well, why don't you tell me? You don't know? You're the president and you don't know? And then the next day, somebody asks him again. Yesterday, you were asked a question about, because the White House, they control the White House core press now for friendly people to ask them questions. Those that they don't want tough questions coming in, they are no longer allowed to come into the core, the press corps. That's control right there, bias of the media. Right there alone. You want friendly reporters to come in and tell you friendly questions, softies, praising, the nice ones. I would have known. Did you see his response? It was like bizarre. And they talked about Biden. His answer was rambling, babbling, and didn't even make sense. But that's okay. There's no concern here. None. No concern. I don't get it. I don't get it. Oh, I would have known. I would have done it. But he didn't do it. Somebody else did it. And you didn't know about it. But you're saying, like, how are you going to wiggle yourself out of this one? And right away deflecting to another one. And then he's got reporters that save him, the friendlies, to change the conversation completely to take it off that topic so nobody follows up with another question. Oh, things are getting weirder and weirder every day. And I'm, like I said, I'm an independent. I'm not sticking up for these Democrats or these Republicans who do things that are just batshit nuts. And if nobody's seeing these signs and not concerned, I don't know what's wrong. There's a lot of flags going on right now. How do you tell Brazil on paper? Did you see this? Now, the Supreme Court, our Supreme Court, is going to look at this because it's going to go to the Supreme Court over the tariffs. Because the the tariffs court said this is unconstitutional, what he's doing. So now it's going to be appealed and it's going to go up. Just what he wrote yesterday is going to be it's done. I'm going to show it if it's available. I couldn't believe it. He put it on paper. Now, this is going to be a batshit problem for him and his tariffs and everything else. Based on what he put. I couldn't believe it. He posted then the letter posted on Truth Social. I would like to see the actual letter because I don't want to read out of context. I can't believe he put this on paper. And it's a big problem. It is a big problem. And that's what I mean. You can't be doing shit like this. He might have just... That's almost like saying someone's guilty before the case is resolved. It happened to Nixon with Manson, believe it or not. Which Nixon had to quickly take back what he said. Because they used it. His lawyers used it. You can't do that. I'm just trying to find the letter. Because you got to see it. 50% tariffs, not based on tariffs, difference, based on politics in Brazil. That is a no-no. That is not part of the national emergency powers as an executive order. That is a no-no. That has nothing to do with us. It has to do with them. Citing witch hunt. His favorite word, witch hunt. I'm trying to find the letter. And nobody seems to be posting the letter. Why? And actually, we have a surplus by billions over Brazil with our trade. A surplus, not a deficit, a surplus. Oh, I found it. This is the letter. This is a problem. It's a problem for court when it goes to a Supreme Court. It's a problem. But then again, with this Supreme Court, it may not be a problem. That's to be determined. This is a no-no. This has nothing to do with tariff to tariff. The X amount percentage of tariffs that they charge, we charge, this has nothing to do with that. This is where trouble's going to lie. Crossing the line. And it may not be big news now, but it should be. Look what it says. This was yesterday. Dear Mr. President, I knew and dealt with former President, whatever his name, Bolsonaro, which is his good buddy because he was similar in policy like he was, and respected him greatly, as did most other leaders of countries. Not necessarily, okay? The way that Brazil has treated former President Bolsonaro, a highly respected leader throughout the world during his term, including by the United States, of course you did, is an international disgrace. This trial should not be taking place. It is a witch hunt that should end immediately. Due in part to Brazil's insidious attacks on free elections, he's trying to compare it to his own, and the fundamental free speech rights of Americans, he's trying to make that connection, as lately illustrated by the Brazilian Supreme Court, trying to connect it to what our Supreme Court decided for him, bailing him out, which has issued hundreds of secret and unlawful censorship orders to U.S. social media platforms. And what the fuck did Russia and everybody else do for you? Threatening them with millions of dollars in fines and eviction for the Brazilian social media market. Starting on August 1st, we will charge Brazil a tariff of 50% on any and all Brazilian products sent into the United States, separate from all sectoral tariffs. Goods transshipped to evade this 50% tariff will be subject to a higher tariff. So he's putting all of this based on a political opinion, trying to interfere with another country's political process and their courts. He has no right at all, even in an executive order dealing with tariffs for this. He's going to get slammed for this. This has nothing to do with the emergency powers that he has to contradict and overturn the Constitution, which says that Congress is the one that decides tariffs, not the president. And it's in court right now. It's being appealed. And it's probably going to go to Supreme Court. If I'm a prosecutor, this is the first letter I'm showing. This is what he's doing with his tariff control. This has nothing to do with tariffs at all. This is political. This has nothing to do with tariffs. He's threatening tariffs to another country, like blackmail, if they don't drop their case in court, in their courts, against the other president. He's throwing 50% tariffs. That's like fucking blackmail. This is a no-no, and he put it on paper. So this is definitely evidence. This is no good. I don't know who allowed him to do this, and nobody advised him. I don't know. Or maybe they did. That is bad. That's taking this shit to a whole new level. That was yesterday. This is yesterday. And he posted it on Truth Social. Wow. And look, it's the 50% number is far less what is needed to have a level playing field we must have with your country. It is also necessary, and it is necessary to have this rectify the grave injustices of the current regime. And then threatening if they try to invest here and all that with us. This is wild. That is wild. But if you look at the facts, this is why things are spinning out of control and nobody's paying attention. I'm trying to see the rates. Okay, this is Let me just see. United States trade surplus with Brazil. We make money. We're not in a deficit with Brazil. We're in a surplus. This is a threat. And I'm not the only one saying this. This is going to end up in the courts. It's starting to make its way around what I'm saying. I just found this article. But again, an illogical decision beyond all limits, worse than the most pessimistic forecasts, and atypical in diplomacy. These were some of the expressions used by experts to describe the United States' announcement of a 50% tariff surcharge on imports on Brazil, because it's political. It's crossing a line. Okay, here we go. According to President Trump, these barriers cause unsustainable trade deficits for the U.S. In reality, the U.S. has a trade surplus with Brazil. In 2024, it was $284 million. In the first half of the year, it grew to $1.67 billion. So we have a surplus trade with Brazil, not a deficit. So why? Why 50%? Political. Threaten them to drop the charges against their former president based on a witch hunt that he believes their guy went through, similar to what he went through, because our Supreme Court dropped it, gave him immunity, and he wants their Supreme Court to do the same for their former president. So he's putting pressure on a sovereign country to do this as a threat. Has really nothing to... He's threatening to put tariffs on them now because he doesn't like what they're doing, based on a trial. That's a no-no. The Supreme Court will see this. If the Supreme Court does their job and does the right thing, this is unacceptable. This has nothing to do with the executive order that he can use in certain circumstances, because Congress is the one that actually does it. So there's that's crossing the line big time. We'll see what the courts do. They may, I don't know. If the courts do the right thing, that's totally not appropriate. And I'm not trying to stick up for Brazil, but this is just batshit nuts. Let me see. Because I think a lot of people are just misinformed. They don't know facts. I mean, even here, I'm trying to see the one. Okay, this is the actual law when it comes to tariffs. Article 1, Section 8 of the U.S. Constitution vests the power to lay and collect tariffs with Congress. The Founding Fathers intended for legislative oversight on taxation, tariffs, and related financial matters, viewing tariffs as strategic levers to be used with caution and prudence. Well, there ain't no caution and prudence being used right now. Historically, Congress sets tariffs and maintains tight control over this power. However, over time, particularly after the Great Depression, there was a shift towards delegating some authority to the executive branch, the president. This began with reciprocal trade agreements of Act of 1934, allowing the president to negotiate trade agreements without separate congressional approval each time. That's what he's doing now under the law. Later acts, such as the Trade Expansion Act of 1962 and 74, further evolved this delegated authority. This allowed the president to act on national security concerns through tariffs or respond to unfair trade practices. Important. However, this delegation is not unchecked. For instance, this act enables the president to impose tariffs if imports threaten national security, but this is bounded by specific findings and processes. So they're finding a way to work around it with Congress. But see, the Supreme Court has emphasized that any delegation of power must include an intelligible principle to direct and limit the president's use of this authority. While the president can negotiate and respond to immediate threats. Immediate threats. Where's the immediate threats? The imposition of generalized tariffs still requires congressional approval, reinforcing the separation of powers fundamental to our constitutional republic. But Congress is doing nothing. And this is where it's going to come down to the Supreme Court. And we know where the Supreme Court lies right now. So it's going to be interesting to see when this letter that he wrote yesterday goes to the Supreme Court. That is not a direct threat to the United States. That is not an immediate threat to the United States. Has nothing to do with the United States. It's a Brazilian issue. And he's threatening 50% tariffs on them. There is no justification under the law for that. Period. None. If the court does their job the right way, at least in this instance, that shit gets thrown out. If they allow it, that sets a precedent moving forward. You can threaten other countries based on their own political infrastructure. Use tariffs to threaten them. Wow. You can't make it political. You missed the letter? Oh my God, Genghis, it's out of control. And then, let's not even talk about that. I'll put the letter in a second. But for him, yesterday, it was actually, I don't know what reporter it was the day before. Asked him, did you know that someone in your administration paused aid to Ukraine? I don't know. Why don't you tell me? He didn't even know that Hegseth put a pause on it. Hegseth didn't even tell the White House. He didn't even tell Rubio. He didn't tell nobody. He just did it on his own. You don't do that shit without telling the president. And then yesterday they called him on again. Oh, I would have known. I would have known. He didn't know. They're doing shit behind his back without telling him. Remember what they used to say about Biden, that Biden had his people running it because his mind was out of it, which is probably most likely true. I can't say that for sure, but Biden definitely was losing it. But it's happening now in this administration with Trump. They're doing shit behind his back without him knowing. Is that okay? No, it's not. It's not. And now they're trying to scramble and cover it up. Like, it's too late. But let me get back to the letter, because you weren't here for the letter. It was posted on Truth Social yesterday. Dude, This can't happen. This should not be allowed to happen. Not based on politics. It can't be. Oh shit, where's the letter now? I just had it. I'm gonna have to go to history. Maybe it's this one. Yeah, here it is. Here's the letter. Check this out. And like I always say, I'm independent. I'm fair. I'll slam the Democrats just as much as I'll slam the Republicans, because it's important to see what's out there based on being objective, not politically dug in. It's good to be objective. Because if you watch any of the media, they're going to be anti-Trump or pro-Trump, and that's it. There's no middle ground. So this is the letter that the president wrote. Dear Mr. President, I knew and dealt with former President Bolsonaro and respected him greatly, as did most other leaders of countries. The way that Brazil has treated former President Bolsonaro, a highly respected leader throughout the world, during his term, including by the United States, is an international disgrace. By the way, a judge just issued a block on his birthright citizenship. Just breaking news right now. Just came up on my computer. This trial should not be taking place. It is a witch hunt that should end immediately. Because he's comparing it to himself, okay? Due in part to Brazil's insidious attacks on free elections, trying to compare it to what he claims happened to him here, and the fundamental free speech right of Americans, as lately illustrated by the Brazilian Supreme Court, which has issued hundreds of secret and unlawful censorship orders to U.S. social media platforms. They're trying to say, stay the fuck out of our business. Threatening them with millions of dollars in fines and eviction from the Brazilian social media market. Starting on August 1st, we will charge Brazil a tariff of 50% on any and all Brazilian products sent into the United States, separate from all other sectoral tariffs. Goods shipped to evade this 50% tariff will be subject to the higher tariff. And then, please understand that the 50% number is far less than what is needed to have the level playing field which we must have with your country. That's a lie. We had a surplus with Brazil last year in the billions. We didn't have a deficit. We had a surplus. That's a lie. Right there, that's a lie. And it is necessary to have you rectify the grave injustices of this current regime. When you use the word regime, you're using that as a way of saying it's not a legitimate government presidency regime. As you are aware, there will be a tariff if Brazil or companies within your country decide to build or manufacture products within the United States. And in fact, we will do everything possible to get approvals quickly, professionally, and routinely. In other words, in a matter of weeks. This has nothing to do with tariffs. This has to do with political. If the Supreme Court sees this, which it's going to go to the Supreme Court, because there's a case right now that's being appealed, and it's going to probably go to the Supreme Court over these tariffs. Congressional. Now remember, yes, there you go, Genghis. Now you're starting to see it. Based on the trial of who the hell are we using tariff threats on other countries in their own political process, in their own freaking Supreme Court? Is that what we're going to do now? Blackmail them to bend to our will when we want them to for political means by using tariffs as a threat? Is that where we're at now? So what, if this is allowed, we could do it to any country, right? If we don't like what they're doing, we threaten them with tariffs. Sanctions is one thing that we use. But now we'll just slap a tariff on you. It's one thing to try to, and I'm all for it, to try to equaling the field when it comes to a deficit and a surplus when it comes to trade. I'm all for that. To create a level playing ground, which the president has the right to do, but Congress still has the final approval of tariffs, it's not happening, but they're supposed to. But even if it went to Congress, they're going to approve all his tariffs anyway, because they have control of both the House and the Senate. So that's not even like a major issue, even though by law it's supposed to be done that way. But this is over the top. This is over the top. And I don't know if anybody's paying attention when people were complaining about inflation. Prices are going up across the board on like everything. You want to fucking exclude eggs? Enjoy your eggs. Everything else is going up. Have you not noticed how everything else is going up? I have. I shop. Do you not shop? Does anybody not shop and see the prices going fucking up on like everything? Bread, everything. Everything is going up. Exactly. And then you hear those that were all for this Epstein thing. Oh, they got to Bondi. They got to Kash Patel. They got to, what's the other guy? Bond. I can't think of his name right now. They got to them. They're part of the deep state now. You people are just so stupid because you believe in this shit so much. It's the obvious answer. It's possible the president's name is on that list. It's to protect him. That's the obvious answer. Not that the deep state got them. It's because your guy is on that fucking list. That's the obvious answer. Dumbasses. And he's been very careful with this Epstein thing, deflecting, even in interviews in the past. Genghis, right? The U.S. imports a variety of goods from Brazil, including significant amounts of minerals, mineral fuels, agricultural products, and base metals like iron and steel. In 2022, the top imports were oils. Go ahead, play with it. Do you realize there's like over 200 photos of Trump with Epstein? Do you know that? I'm not going to show them all. Do you know that? Do you know that he said in an interview years ago? Now, I guess the defense might be he was a Democrat at the time. That might be the last defense that they'll use. Well, he wasn't a Republican. He changed. He was a Democrat when he was hanging out with Epstein. They're going to make an excuse somehow, and I believe that will be the fallback position. He was a Democrat. Put money on it. Put money on it. I'm telling you, I see things way ahead before they even happen. Because I'm dealing objectively and I'm looking at everything. Not like what they do. I would love to pick up that quote in an interview. You got to see what he said about Epstein. In an interview years ago. He's a terrific guy. I know him for 15 years. He used to hang out with him. And there's those video clips out there. There's a lot of photos. So why wouldn't he be on the list? He used to hang out with him. Let me see. So when the deep state is involved, so-called, that they got to Bongino and Pam Bondi and Kash Patel, now they're covering it up. Yeah, they're covering it up to protect their guy. Is that not the most rational, logical explanation? Or they got him. The deep state got him. No, dumbasses. It's because he's on the fucking list. I mean, do you not have common sense? I mean, you got to be like laughable at some of this stupid shit that goes on out there. Okay. Here's just one. Little fact check. Did Trump once say Jeffrey Epstein was a terrific guy who loves beautiful women as much as I do? The answer is yes, in an interview. Donald Trump said, and he was a Democrat at the time, remember I said that, but he was starting to become more Republican at this time too. Because I remember what he said about the Iraq War, all that stuff. Because remember, I'm from New York City, so was Trump. Okay? We know Trump. Well, we're very familiar with Trump. Donald Trump said in 2022 that Jeffrey Epstein was a terrific guy and added, it's even said that he likes beautiful women as much as I do, and many of them are on the younger side. And then if they're talking here about how they'll make it public. This was a genuine quote from Trump. It appeared in an article. The story was published by New York Magazine on October 22nd. In a phone interview. He was asked about the quote in 2019. And in response to somebody asking him about this, Trump said it 3 times that he was not a fan of Epstein's. We knew him like everybody in Palm Beach knew him. I mean, people in Palm Beach knew him. He was a fixture in Palm Beach. I had a falling out with him a long time ago. I don't think I've spoken with him for 15 years. He's trying to distance himself. I wasn't a fan. I was not, a long time ago. I'd say maybe 15 years. I was not a fan of his. That I can tell you. I was not a fan of his. Oh, yeah, really? Here's the quote. I've known Jeff for 15 years. Terrific guy. He's had a lot of fun. He's a lot of fun to be with. It's even said that he likes beautiful women as much as I do, and many of them on the younger side. No doubt about it. Jeffrey enjoys his social life. I mean, what the fuck? What? So, MAGA world, Trump hung out with him. Trump helped him out with real estate deals. Did you know that? If you're not from New York. This is an article from 2002. Might be interesting for some people to get some background. Epstein likes to tell people he's a loner, a man who's never touched alcohol or drugs, and one whose nightlife is far from energetic. And yet, if you talk to Donald Trump, a different Epstein emerges. And we just read that. That's the quote. And the Clintons are involved. There's a lot of people involved with this. But to say that he wasn't a fan of him, he's a terrific guy. I've known him for 15 years. So the hypocrisy and the lies is just extreme. Extreme. Because now they're trying to say the deep state got to Kash Patel, Pam Bondi, and what's his name? Bongivo, whatever the frick, Dan. And by the way, if we're talking about people who are qualified to get a job, do you not think there's a lot more qualified people to take the role of anything that have a lot more experience than the people that are in this administration? Just to throw it out there. Or a bunch of loyalists who are not as qualified. And you could see, because of the less qualification, shit is like insane what's going on in that administration. It's one fuck up after another. And people will defend it because they have to, because they're dug in. Not me, I'm independent. I'm not dug in, and I'm so glad I'm not. And right now, Russia is pounding Ukraine more than ever. And Putin is laughing at Trump. What are you going to do about it, Mr. No Wars? You want to start an escalation with us? What are you going to do about it? Send a few defensive weapons to Ukraine? You're going to spend the money? Where are you going to get the money from? Your followers will freak out if you start sending more stuff to Ukraine. He knows this. This man is super KGB expert. He knows how to play Trump. I've been saying this for years. And they're laughing right now. A Russian newscaster said yesterday, well, we're not concerned because Trump changes his mind like he changes shoes. It's a laughing stock. China with Taiwan, they're ready. He's not going to. It's America first. You think he's going to care about us taking Taiwan? He's going to start a war with us? He's going to spend the money on that? His followers would flip out. We didn't ask for this, to get involved with a war with China over Taiwan. Taiwan's none of our business. Just like Iran's none of our business. Just like Ukraine's none of our business. Do you understand the messaging here? And what this sends to the rest of the world from a world leader? It shows weakness like you've never seen. They talked about Biden being weak. Yes, the man was losing it, for sure. But this is worse from a person who's supposed to be having his mental capacity, and this shit's happening. This is worse. No? Yes? So, I don't know. They feuded over a mansion, a 41 million Palm Beach mansion, 2 weeks after the home's auction. That's where the fallout started between the two. Holy shit. It was over real estate. Of course, Trump fell out with Epstein over real estate, not underage girls. The president and Epstein were reportedly each other's wingmen until taking opposite sides on a real estate deal. And it's true, it was over a mansion. That they were not friends, they didn't socialize together. This is such a lie. So, there's more. There's so much more. If you know where to look, there's so much more. You would think he's Mr. Innocent. He had nothing to do with him. He had a lot to do with him. That's why I think a lot of that we're not seeing the Epstein files being publicized, is because he's on the list and he's deep in it. Deep. They're not covering up for the deep state. They're covering up for him. Pam Bondi is a loyalist to Trump. She's covering up for him. This is the actual article. What happened back in 2004 from a conservative newspaper, the New York Post. This is where the fallout started. Inside the 41 million mansion fight that led Donald Trump's fallout with Jeffrey Epstein. Before this, they were buddies. They were buddies. It was like a prize piece. However, their relationship took a dramatic, look at the wording. This is the New York Post, owned by Rupert Murdoch, a conservative magazine. This is back in 2004. Before Epstein's notoriety exploded onto the world stage, he and Trump moved with the same elite circles, hobnobbing at lavish parties, jetting between destinations, and sharing Florida neighborhood space. However, their relationship took a dramatic turn when both set their sights on acquiring the Maison de whatever, which means House of Friendship in French. It went bankrupt, and Epstein and Trump engaged in a fierce bidding war. Only one man would come out on top. And that's when the fallout started between these two. And there's many photos of Trump and Epstein, okay? Many. Oh, I didn't know him. Oh, I didn't hang out with him at parties or jetting. I mean, what the fuck? And then there was this competition over this place. A bidding war, which Trump won. And that was the fallout. This is from 2004. Is anyone paying attention? You never see this on the media, do you? Never. Do you? Have you ever even known about this? Donald Trump made a name for himself in New York as the real estate mogul. In Atlantic City. His father, Fred, and him started, his father really. That's where he inherited a lot from, his father. His father was the one. With starting, with all these buildings, and it was his father. And then he brought his son in, Donald Trump. I mean, if you do the digging, it goes on and on and on. So think about it. Look, here's another one. Oh, he didn't like him. Trump and Epstein's friendship reportedly soured after they fought over this auction. Weeks after the home auction, cops received a tip about underage women at Epstein's house. I wonder who provided that tip. I wonder who fucking provided that tip. Did somebody know about this? And then this is now my enemy and I'm going to tip the cops off about an activity that might be going on in the Epstein home? You see, their friendship ended in 2004 over this. The report also reveals that the Palm Beach cops received their first tip about underage girls visiting Epstein's house fewer than 2 weeks after Trump won the mansion. Oh, we need to dig into that. Shouldn't we dig into that? Did Trump's people, I'm alleging, actually tip the police off because Trump's seen it? What was going on? And now this guy is his fucking enemy. They're no longer friends. And tipped the police off of what was going on in his home? What about that? What about that? It happened to... Look at that. The report also reveals that Palm Beach cops received their first tip about underage girls visiting Epstein's house fewer than 2 weeks after Trump won the mansion at an auction. Timing. What? Coincidence? I don't fucking think so. And that's when it all started going downhill for Epstein. He destroyed him. And then, of course, in the weeks since Epstein's arrest, the question had been raised just how close he was to the president. Since they were often spotted looking chummy together at parties in the 90s. Because Trump had to try to distance himself. Epstein's brother Mark said they were good friends. And look, the New Yorkers appeared to forge their friendship on the Palm Beach social scene shortly after Trump divorced his first wife, Ivana. Epstein oogling NFL cheerleaders at a party at Mar-a-Lago that year? Oh, wait. They were tight. They were each other's wingmen. He called him a terrific guy in that 2002 article I just showed. He's a lot of fun to be with. He's a lot of fun to be with. And then this happened. And then 2 weeks, not even 2 weeks later, cops are being tipped that something's going on at Epstein's house after this feud between him and Epstein. This makes a lot more conspiratorial sense than the bullshit you hear out about today, right? This makes more fucking sense. Sorry. This makes more sense. So let's look at this clip. I don't know if I'll be able to show it. We all know about this clip. And this is at Mar-a-Lago. This is at fucking Mar-a-Lago with Epstein invited there. You don't go to Mar-a-Lago unless you're fucking invited. Or a paid, or you're paying to be at Mar-a-Lago like he does to raise money. Footage from this shows Donald Trump dancing and laughing with Jeffrey Epstein. The video, shot for Faith Daniels' NBC talk show Closer Look, appears to show Donald Trump pointing out women and cracking jokes with Epstein. Then, of course, he changed his tune that he wasn't a fan. He wasn't a fan because he had a fucking fallout with him over a real estate deal. He now became the enemy. And then, like I said, 2 weeks later, they get a tip, the first tip, of underage women at Epstein's home. Right after Donald Trump sealed the deal on that mansion. And they have the nerve to say, the MAGA people right now are saying this is part of the deep state. They got to Bongiva, whatever his name is, Dan Bongino, or whatever his name is, Kash Patel, and Pam Bondi. No. She's protecting Trump because there's a chance, like Elon Musk said, he's on the fucking list. He was good friends with him. They hung out together in New York, Mar-a-Lago. I just showed you just some. So stop it. Stop it with the conspiracy theory. It's the deep state. Look at what's right in front of your face. The evidence is there if you look for it, but if you ignore it because you want to turn your head, then of course you'll never recognize it. There's plenty of it. His connection to Epstein. But remember, I'll say this one more time, the excuse will be finally if this all comes out. But Donald was a Democrat. It's the Democrats corrupted him. They're the pedophiles, and I'm not surprised. It was the Democrats who influenced Trump because he was a Democrat at the time. Watch. This might turn into a big deal. This is not going away. And what if, because they're gonna say, oh, it's all a bunch of lies. He's not on the list. Somebody put him on the list. They're gonna come out with every excuse in the book. More conspiracy. Everything's conspiracy driven. Look at what that just said. A few weeks later, not even 2 weeks later, the cops were tipped. By whom? To go to Epstein's house after the deal of this battle, which became a bitter battle between his old friend Epstein and him over a real estate property. Trump wins that battle, but yet, did he screw over Epstein by providing information or through another means providing information to the police that he had underage girls? That means, who was aware of that? Was Trump aware of that going on? At his home? This is freaking crazy. I see this more as a build-up to reality than anything that the other side says. This has to be looked into. But they won't, because the DOJ won't open this up. Neither would the FBI. Yeah, that was Genghis. That was unbelievable with that part. I'm not even going to repeat it, but yes, that was crazy. So, again, the information, I still can't get over. I mean, if you look at it, every article I just put points fingers. Every one of them. It's crazy. They were tight. They were each other's wingmen. And this is the thing that gets me right here. I would love to see the whole report. The report also reveals that Palm Beach cops received their first tip about underage girls visiting Epstein's house fewer than 2 weeks after Trump won the mansion at auction. And this is when the whole case started with Epstein. Is this madness? And they were friends for a long time. You saw what they did. They traveled together. They hung out together. Look, they forged their friendship on a Palm Beach social scene after he divorced Ivana. They were tight. He was a lot of fun to be with. It's even said, this is a quote from Trump, he's a lot of fun to be with. It's even said that he likes beautiful women as much as I do, and many of them on the younger side. No doubt about it. Jeffrey enjoys his social life. But again, in the other article, it's unbelievable that 2 weeks after the home's auction, cops received a tip about underage women at Epstein because they fought. They were friends and they battled over this. So was that a revenge thing against Epstein? I don't know. This is deeper than we all realize. And Elon might know about it. I don't know. He did put that out there and then took it down. He said, remember this in the future. And all of a sudden, the whole files went dead, quiet. And they're trying to blame Pam Bondi that she's part of the deep state now. No, she's protecting the president. She's very loyal to the president. She's protecting him. Because he might be on that list, like Elon said. That makes more sense. And then when you read all this stuff and you see the background, the friendship they had, hanging out at parties together, Epstein at Mar-a-Lago, real estate deals, hanging out in New York, jetting. It even said jetting. So is he on the logs, the flight logs? Jetting together. Oh boy. And this is not to exclude the Clintons and all the others, because they're part of this shit too. But was the Clintons hanging out with them at Mar-a-Lago? Was the Clintons hanging out while younger women are there? Were they part of that? It's pretty obvious that Trump was, allegedly, in these articles. He even said it. He seems to like young women, younger women. How would you know that? How would you know that? And he seems to also like younger women. Well, how would you know that? You heard about it? Did you see it? See what I'm saying? And then the cops get tipped about these younger women. And Epstein gets arrested and the whole thing unfolds shortly thereafter. Look at the history. Look where it all started. Look behind. Go back. Just because he says, oh, he's not a good guy. He's not that. After the fact. Because you want to distance yourself from him as much as possible. Why are we still talking about this? Hey, you don't want them to talk about it now, right? See what I'm saying? So that's another shit show that's going on. And I think they're looking in the wrong places. People are looking in the wrong places when the obvious is right in front of them. And I'm not saying to bash. I'm just, because, you know, like I said, Trump was a Democrat at that time. He was starting to go leaning Republican in the early 2000s. You know, his comments on the Iraqi war, you know, he was starting to change. You got to remember, he donated to Kamala Harris. Did you know that? Back in time, he was a Democrat. Trump was a Democrat. So, you know, people change. People change their opinions, their minds. But there was that going on at that time. In that circle. The liberal circle. Epstein. The Clintons. Trump. And who else? Celebrities. Who else knows who's... And that's why people want to see. But be careful what you wish for, because you may not like it. Because some of the people that you admire and worship could be on that list. Careful. That's what I say. Because it was all about the money and the influencers, the people of power, influence. They were all part of that. And Epstein was right there. So it's both sides. I'm not picking on the president. There was a lot of people involved. Big time players. But in this case, because it's just blown up over the last few days, and they're saying, oh, the deep state got to them. Bullshit. The deep state didn't get to them. They have information and they see it that could tie, possibly, allegedly. So I'm speculating that the president is on that list. And a lot of people are starting to wonder if he is. Not the deep state. Nonsense. Are they protecting him? That's why the list won't come out. Transparency? Really? Be transparent now. Put out that list. Let's see the names on it. Don't redact. Put it out. Put all the information. Be careful. But, like I said, they'll say that's a lie. That's the deep state putting his name on the list. They'll come out with any possible excuse to cover it up, which will be a cover-up in itself. So this could get ugly, and Elon might know. Remember, Elon had that clearance. He was given serious clearance. He might have heard something or seen something or came across something. Now, call Elon a liar if he said that, because he did take it down. But he did say that Trump is on that Epstein list. Then he took it down. Who knows? Who knows? Why would he say that? Was it just simply a lie to get back at the president? It's possible. But if you think this story is going away, it's not. And notice how quickly they tried to change the narrative by going after Comey and what's the other guy's name? They tried to change it to deflect to them because of what just happened with the Epstein thing. Let's have them focused on something else that they love, that they want us to go after. Brennan. It was Brennan, Comey, and what's the other one? He wasn't mentioned though. It was John Brennan and Comey. But there was another person that they, and remember, all of this has been investigated before, where they spent over $100 million investigating with a Trump assigned special counsel investigator who found nothing. But they put it out there to try to change the whole narrative and get their minds on this shiny object and stop paying attention to the Epstein thing. In less than 24 hours, they flipped it for a reason. Because that's exactly why they did it. A leak came out. A leak from the Trump administration putting this out there that they're going to investigate Comey and Brennan. How convenient a leak comes out right after this craziness with the Epstein files. Coincidence? Another one? Maybe. Too many coincidences for me. So, it's a cray-cray time. We live in kind of crazy time. And again, I can't get over how Hegseth did not tell the president or Marco Rubio or others that needed to know, the general, that they were putting a pause on shipments to Ukraine without them knowing. If that happened in any other administration, that person would be fired immediately. How dare you not inform the president? The president is the commander-in-chief. He's the one that makes the final call on a pause or no pause on stuff like that. You don't make that decision solely based on, I'm going to do it, and not inform the president? What? What? And the way he answered the question yesterday was like babbling. He looked like he was incompetent. How the president answered the question. He looked like a fool. And this is what they don't pay a mind to this. If that was Biden that did some shit like that, it would be insane. That's just to show you the hypocrisy when the shoe's on the other foot. We have to look at it objectively. Objectively. Not party dug in either side. Objective perspective on things. Look, it's right here. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth paused military and shipments to Ukraine without informing President Trump or any key officials, leading to confusion and concern among lawmakers and allies. The decision was reportedly based on concerns about U.S. munition stockpiles, although military analysis indicated that the aid would not jeopardize U.S. readiness. Wow. Look at this. Now, you think this shit is good? Are they undermining the president's authority? We knew that probably people around Biden were controlling what was going on because Biden was losing it. Honestly, losing it. But now it's happening under Trump. 6 months in. That's not a concern? Hegseth authorized the pause without informing President Trump. And we just read that. The pause caught many by surprise, leading to a scramble within the administration to explain the situation to Congress in Ukraine. Lawmakers from both parties expressed further frustration over not being notified in advance, questioning whether the pause violated legislation mandating security assistance to Ukraine. So right there, that could be a violation. The administration's response, the White House later stated that the decision was part of a broader review of military aid to ensure alignment with U.S. interests. Trump indicated a willingness to resume some military shipments to Ukraine, particularly defensive weapons, following increased Russian attacks. It sparked the pause in military aid to Ukraine by Hegseth has sparked internal about decision-making processes within the Trump administration, highlighting the complexities of U.S. foreign policy and ongoing conflicts. The president, and bottom line is, the president didn't know. Neither did Rubio. Neither do a lot of important key figures in the administration. People knew that Hegseth wasn't qualified from the get-go, but they still voted him in because they had to get the yes person in. And they got to follow the toe. They got to toe the line. I want this guy, get him in. It's that simple. And this is what you're going to get. Remember the signal thing that happened. Remember that? In Yemen? Do you know that they have, I'm not going to get into conspiratorial alleged rumors out there, but supposedly, allegedly, a country has all their information and is willing to put it all out there as blackmail. And then, here's more. You want to see more hypocrisy? I mean, I can go all day with this. And yes, there's going to be a hearing on what happened in California with the National Guard. And they tried to make it into a big, like, it was a huge riot. What inflamed that situation? That was politicized. That was to make it what it was. Oh, we need to bring in the National Guard. We may even have to bring in the military. Come on now. Really? Or was that a fucking staged thing so to make it look so bad? Was it? Was it necessary? Oh, and the next quote, another one. Oh, the federal government, we could take over New York City. And I don't know what the other city. Oh, really? The federal government can come into a state and take over their city now? Ooh, I didn't hear about that one. That's new to me, that the Fed can now have the authority to take over a fucking city. Do you see how dangerous this is getting? Does anybody not see how dangerous this is getting? But nobody's looking at it that way. They're looking at it in the small aspect, not the whole picture. And it's very, very frustrating. Look. Look at this hypocrisy. Because he knows his constituents are going to get hurt. After voting for Trump's mega bill, the beautiful bill, GOP Senator Josh Hawley wants to prevent a key Medicaid cut from taking effect. Now they're coming out to criticize it after they voted for it. Because they know it's going to hurt their constituents. His state represents one of the biggest states that depend on federal aid for Medicaid. I've done this in the past, and I showed you the top states, 6 of 7 are red. 6 of the top 7, other than New Mexico, are red states that depend completely on federal assistance from Medicaid. It's not blue states. Blue states are on the bottom. It's the red states. But they passed it anyway, knowing that they're going to hurt their own constituents over this bill, because they had to toe the line. Think about that. Now they're criticizing and saying, oh, but you voted for it. But you voted for it. Now you're going to cry about it? Give me a break. That's why stats matter. I forgot about, let's not even get into the weather survey, because I'll flip a lid. I will flip. If I start talking about the weather, because the cuts have already been done. People have been forced to early retire, including the early warning person that was in charge in Texas that would have been there to send all the fucking alerts and make sure they all got out. Resigned and never was replaced. Not resigned, retired and never was replaced. And thank God the people that were still there did their jobs and tried to put the warnings out. Fuck. I said this months ago. I'm scared if hurricanes hit this country or a natural disaster like an earthquake in California, or all shit hits the fan, because it's going to be chaos. It's going to be chaos. With what they did, and killing science too. It's facts, because they don't agree with it. That's why they're killing it, because they don't agree with it. This is what's going to happen. There's going to be some serious, horrible consequences potentially because of this. The country's going to have to learn the fucking hard way. I hate to say it. I wonder where that state ranks. His state. Okay, look. The majority of Medicaid spending cuts spending comes from the federal government. Okay, we know that they want to cut it. They did. Blah blah blah. Oh yeah, a lot of people are against this. It's like 35% of the population agree with this big beautiful bill, which you know what that consists of, Republican. Of course. Look at this. Mississippi receives the most for Medicaid, to run Medicaid. Mississippi. Followed by West Virginia. Then Kentucky, Alabama, South Carolina, Arkansas. New Mexico is blue. They're number 1. They're a mess. That state is a disaster. It's a blue state. It is a disaster. So 6 of the top 7 states that receive federal money for Medicaid are red states. Good luck. The states with the lowest: Washington, California, Colorado, Connecticut, Wyoming, New Jersey, Maryland, Massachusetts, New Hampshire, and New York. Mostly blue received the minimum. Big states received the minimum. What's wrong with this picture? So who's it really hurting? And they voted for it. They're hurting their own constituents in their own states. And now they're trying to backwalk it and say, oh, I'm against these Medicaid cuts, but you fucking voted for it. I don't want to hear it. Because you're worried about the primary? You're worried about 2026? Notice how a lot of this won't be put into place until after the 2026 elections, midterms, because they know how bad it is. Facts matter. Not right, left media. Facts matter. And people need to do more research and look into it. Just don't take their word for it. What you see on CNN, MSNBC, Fox, OAN, don't take their word for it. They're going to give you whatever you want to hear. That's what they do. Look at them as lobbyists for either side. Do your own research. Do your own investigative work into facts. Not the bullshit that they tell you. Because that's what happens. If I watched CNN all day or MSNBC all day, I'm going to be hypnotized by what they're telling me 24/7. Same goes with Fox, OAN, and all those other channels. I'm only hearing this. I need to look into this more if I'm objective. I got to see what's really going on here. And when you start to dig, you'll be surprised, sometimes shocked. And that's, I could pick all kinds of topics. If you looked a year ago at NOAA or even NASA, where they had the climate change stuff on there, it's gone. They got rid of it because they don't like it. They don't like the climate science. They got rid of it. I was like, what happened to it? It's gone. They removed it. They removed a lot of science-based data, statistical sites because they don't agree with it. Why do you think NOAA and the National Weather Service is getting attacked so bad? With people leaving early, buying them out, early retirement. Now they're trying to scramble to get people back. Doge. I wonder why. Are lives more important than money? Or is it reverse? Or is it an agenda thing because you don't agree with what they're telling you? This shit is crazy. It's just batshit crazy. And that's why I've been saying for months, God forbid we hit a natural disaster, hits this country. I don't know what's going to happen. I'm talking like a hurricane, an earthquake, something on a large scale. They're not prepared. They're not able to deal with it. Oh my God. The states are going to be responsible for it? The states only have so much they can utilize to deal with a disaster. Other states are going to have to come in and help, like that does happen. When there's a hurricane, you'll see utility companies coming from other states to help or whatever, and they help. You could forget about the federal government helping you. That's why I'm really concerned if, God forbid, we get hit not just by one hurricane, two. Chaos. But now the wording has changed. We're gonna wait to put certain things into effect until after the hurricane season. Oh, so now we're gonna wait till after the hurricane season. What happens next year? The guy that's in charge now didn't even know about a hurricane season. That's how incompetent and unqualified the person is. Didn't even know that there was a hurricane. I fucking know there's a hurricane season. A majority of the people in this country know there's a hurricane season, but the guy in charge didn't even know. What's a hurricane season? I didn't know a hurricane season. I think his last name is Johnson. I was like, what? What? This is where we're at. Incompetent people in charge. In very important roles. That's not a concern. It's a freaking major concern. And there's nothing to brag about either. This is just scary serious. Look at this. The acting head of FEMA said he wasn't aware U.S. had a hurricane season. Are you fucking kidding me? Are you kidding? I remember this happening. The remark was made by, look at this, staff of the Federal Emergency Management Agency were confused and dispirited on Monday after the acting head of the agency said that during a daily briefing that he had not been aware that the country has a hurricane season. The remark was made by, it's not Johnson, Richardson, at the conclusion of the 8:30 briefing. He's a former Marine Corps officer. What's his qualification to run FEMA? They're not sure if it was literally or as a joke, because they say that same excuse for when the president speaks. Oh, he was just joking. He was just joking. That's the famous line. Oh, he was just joking. That's their main excuse. It's just joking. Maybe Biden was pretending. He was just joking too. It's insane. And this was the shocker for me. It's not even there. You would have to go back. This used to have so much information, NASA, regarding climate change. This is the NASA site. They removed a lot of shit from here. Now, this is actually older. I went to a 2024. They're doing away with this. They don't want you to even know about climate change. NASA's being gutted. This is a no-no. This is a no-no now. They removed a lot of the actual statistics. You can't, look at this. You can't even, they've made it so fucking difficult now to look for information based on science. This is bullshit. You don't know how much more information was here last year compared to what it is now. They removed it. They removed it. The data, the science going back decades. Do you remember when I used to stream and I used to show you images of 20, 30 years ago, what the ice sheet looked like to what it looks like now? They took it all out. All that information, all that historical data leading up to now is gone. They don't want you to know that it's been increasing over the years. That there is a trend, there is numbers, data, science, statistics. They don't want you to know. That's why they're trying to destroy the Weather Service and NOAA. Do people really need to fucking wake up? And I hate to use the language, but it's like, my God, wake up. Science is utterly being gutted and destroyed. You know who's going to take advantage of that, right? Other countries. They're going to pass us. Because they're not into this politicizing science and all that stuff. They're not into that. They're just on a mission to advance technology and growth and sustainability. We're not. We're fucking dug into political quarrels. What they're going to do to solar is a disgrace because they want to put the money in the pockets of fossil fuel. What they're going to do to solar is going to hurt the industry, but not a lot of states are still going to do what they got to do to keep that going for their states. Like New York. The fuck? You think I want to pay $400, $500 and during the summer for my electric bill when I'm paying $160 because I have solar? And I was given all kinds of incentives last year? That's going bye-bye. Tax credits, incentives, it's going bye-bye from the Fed. How you could claim it on your returns as a tax credit by putting solar. Bye-bye. Before that takes effect, get solar now. If you're able to. Get it now because it's going bye-bye. All those tax credits are going bye-bye. The incentive-driven is gone. That's a warning. It's up to people to decide what they want to do, but the utilities keep going up. It's not coming down. Kilowatt per hour, it's going up. Ask the people in New York City what they pay. It's insane. It's pretty bad up here, but it's way worse in the city. Just to provide for their incentive-driven for fossil fuel drilling. Drilling everywhere. How long does that last? Does that forever? Or do we not seek means to produce energy another way in the long-term consequences of things, not short-term? Are we not looking forward to the future? Or we're stuck and we'll just exhaust all the resources until then we scramble and say, okay, now we got to do something. It's insane. It's absolutely insane. I'm going to see if I can pull up my report. But I got to be careful not to put this on the screen. Okay. This is so far today. The pool is on. Air conditioner is off right now. My panels have produced 14. I've imported 11. So far, I've given to the electric company 1.9. You think I'm paying for electricity right now? No. No. Zero. I pay $125 for the lease of the panels and a $35 connection fee. I pay $160 a month. Do you know what my electric bill was 2 years ago in a summer month? $400 to $500. So give me a break. Look at yesterday. I broke even because it was crazy hot. I had the air conditioning going on in the house and the pool. Let's take a look. This is yesterday. I produced 40 kilowatts. I imported 23. I exported 23. I broke even yesterday. Did I take any electricity from the utility company? No, because I produced and gave them equal amount. I actually was +5 ahead in a kilowatt. Wow, just call it breaking even on a 93-degree day with air conditioner going and the pool. So what? I got to spend money on the utility company and do away with my solar and spend $400 or $500 a month during the summer I say no. Every summer month, I'm saving $300 per month. Per summer, I'm saving $1,000. $1,000 is a lot of money because of solar. So what the hell is going on? Why not encourage this? If people that qualify, because you have to have the panels in a position where they get the sun, where it's facing a certain way. Are there trees? Is there shade? Does your roof sustain the ability to hold the panels? There's other ways to create an array on the ground, all that. This is bullshit. That's what it is. And the panels are not made in China or South Korea. They're made right here in New York. Do you know how much business jobs are provided by solar? Much more than fucking oil or utilities. I could put those numbers up too. Would you like to see them? Facts matter. Not the bullshit you see or hear. Facts matter. I just showed you. Does that not mean anything? I mean, I could go to the month. Let's see. How do I get month? Energy produced. I don't want that. I want to try to get by the month. July. Shit. Is it going to give me the whole month? Maybe. 2025, July. Shit. It's not letting me do it. I would have to go day by day. There's a way to do it by month. Status. Okay, grid, live status. We don't want live status. What's that? Oh, they got a Prime thing going on with this. That's new. I've never seen that before. Manage. Performance. I gotta get ready. I gotta go. I gotta leave. I gotta get off. I'm going to see Superman. I gotta get off right away. Oh, here it is. Month. So far for the month of July. It's early. I've produced 379. I've consumed 327. I've given the utility company 54. So I've produced more than I've used in the first few days of this month. That's another example. We could look at June quick. Like I was saying, Alice, in the summer months, my utility bill would be with AC and the pool and everything else, about $400 a month. I pay $160. I'm saving $250 per month, at least. Let's see. Let's try month. Let's go to June. Let's see how I did in June. I was slightly under for June because June started off cold and cloudy and shitty. So I actually almost broke even. I produced 896. I consumed 950. So I was in the red by 54, which is nothing. Maybe $5 toward the bill. You see? That was for June. Let's look at this. I want to go to, let me go back year. Let's check last year. We got to go to the month. June. That's now. Fuck. I want to go to year. Let's go to 2024. Month. It's taking me right back to, it's taking me right back. 2024. It didn't change. We're at 2024. It keeps taking me back. Let's just do it like this. I gotta go. I gotta get dressed. I didn't have them yet. I got them in May. June. Look at this. June last year. I produced 973. I consumed 968. Gave them 204 because the weather was different. More sun. Better. Let's look at July. Look how much I produced. Megawatts. I used because, again, you're in the middle of the summer, the heat, AC, pool. I used 1.1 megawatts. I still gave them 140. Do you know how much that would have cost me to consume all this? Oh my God. God forbid. August, I produced 970. I consumed 883. Almost breaking even, but I'm still in the plus. That's what it's about. Tons of money saved. Literally, lots of money. Stats matter. Money matters. In your pocket. Savings. You think I want to depend on that utility company? And their rates keep going up. Mine's locked. I have solar. Look at, but remember, I've got a lot of things going on in this house running. I use a lot of electricity. And it's only me and mom. Imagine. And that's another thing. If they see that I'm not producing enough, they come and put more panels. They come and put more panels because they're monitoring me, the solar company. If they see that I'm not producing enough to maintain, they'll install 2 more panels and put it on the roof. That's a no-brainer. Anyway, I got to go. I got to take a shower quick, and I got to get the hell out of here because I got to go see Superman. And I got to leave here in 25 minutes. So I got to go. Anyway, love to all of you. Be well, be blessed, be safe. Fringe, I see you. Love everybody. Have a great day. I got to go because I got to get out of here. So I'll see everybody maybe later on tonight. Till then, peace out. Love, blessings, be safe. I got to go.